Hello, welcome to Live for Lunch, and I hope you're having a good day. What is it you're having for lunch? Let me know in the chat. Today we are continuing our series looking at the Bible and an overview of the Bible, trying to look at the Bible in such a way as that we get an idea of the whole story. And as we do that, we're going to go from the Old Testament to the New Testament week by week. And I think we're doing that because when we look at the Bible's narrative, we see some similarities, some reflections at the start and at the end. And we see that the style of narrative takes place in this way, where we see some of the things that are happening in Genesis happening again in a new way at the end. And so that's why we're doing this way, and also to keep things interesting for you. So last week, if you were here, we looked at the story of Noah and how God chose Noah and showed him what was about to happen in the world because he was somebody that had a relationship with God. Now, the passage we're looking at today is from Matthew 24. And it mentions Noah. It also talks about some interesting things, maybe referring to the end of the world, some would say. Interesting stuff with lots of opinions. So if you've heard some things, I'd be interested to see what you have heard in the chat. But let's begin. We have Matthew 24. We're going to start 37. The other preceding verses are pretty interesting too, but I didn't want to get into that today. So, 37, let's read together. When the Son of Man returns, it will be like it was in Noah's day. There you go, there's Noah. In those days, before the flood, the people were enjoying banquets and parties and weddings right up to the time Noah entered his boat. People didn't realize what was going to happen until the flood came and swept them all away. That is the way it will be when the Son of Man comes. The Son of Man, Jesus is referring to himself there. Jesus is talking to his disciples. So we go forward to the next verse. 2 men will be working together in the field. One will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding flour at the mill. One will be taken, the other left. So you too must keep watch, for you don't know what day the Lord, your Lord, is coming. Understand this, if a homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would watch and not permit his house to be broken into. People love to refer to these verses when talking about the rapture. And there's the Left Behind series. It's an intriguing series of movies where they talk about this, people being raptured up to heaven, some being left behind. Any thoughts on that? Let me know. Now, verse 44, you must also be ready all the time, for the Son of Man will come when least expected. Now, this is the part that I'm really interested in. A faithful, sensible servant is one to whom the master can give the responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds that the servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. And I think we can sort of compare this to Noah. Noah was somebody that wanted to do what pleased God. And God revealed to Noah what was going to happen. Unlike everybody else who had no idea what was about to take place in the world. And it did have a significant impact on their lives. But you see here that a faithful, sensible follower of Jesus, somebody that God can trust, somebody that looks after others, you can see feeding them. So we look at that metaphor, what are some of the things that you might expect a faithful servant of God to be doing. And let's finish it off. I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all he owns. But what if the servant is evil and thinks, my master won't be back for a while, and he begins beating the other servants, partying and getting drunk? The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut the servant to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So it doesn't end well for someone not prepared, someone that forgets that God is returning. And that's quite gory language there. And I wonder if that was a reflection of the time and the practices of what would happen in the time when Jesus was speaking. But I think the key message here, isn't it, is that Jesus will come back at some point, and that God does notice what we do. Each day is important. We can't just take our faith lightly. That when we follow Jesus, remember Jesus talking to the disciples here, when we follow Jesus, he gives us a responsibility to further his work in the world, like we were discussing in one of the earlier videos, and to look after, to care for the people around us. It's not something that we can sort of let go for a bit and treat people badly. This is really talking to people who are representatives of God in the world. People that, like the disciples, were given charge of furthering his work. And I think it's a message that we should come back to. Just a reminder that we've been given important responsibilities. Just like he gave Adam and Eve in the garden the important job of caring for the world. They messed up. There were consequences. And just like that, it's while that we're saved by grace and God has done all this for us as a free gift while we were still sinners. When we've been saved, God has a job for us to do, and we should take that seriously. He's coming back, and like that said, we won't know when. So I don't think we should get caught up in when exactly that will happen and all of that. That's a debate we could have at another time, but I think it is clear that we should be paying attention to what's going on around us in the world and paying attention to what God might be saying to us each day, because every day is important and we can't afford to rest easy. People around us need the hope that we carry. So be blessed. I'd love to see in the comments if there's any further thoughts you have about this passage. Encourage you to read the whole thing, and feel free to come back with some questions. We can address them in a future live lunch. But thank you for joining me. Really great to see a few of you on here. And if you're watching later, God bless, and we'll see you next time.